to this press conference underway with Fulton County officials. Let's listen.
Previous review has shown Fulton County elections are fair and lawful, and the outcome of the 2020 election will not change, period. Let me talk about voter protections. Now, we do not know where our election records have been taken or what will happen to them now that they are out of our control. While they were here, they were safe and they secure. Once they left Fulton County, our election center, I don't know where they are. I don't know who has them. I don't know what they're doing with them. We can no longer be held responsible for those ballots and other data that was seized yesterday. But what I'm hoping that we will stand together to ensure that no data is ever weaponized. Poll worker protection. After the 2020 elections, Fulton County poll workers endured brutal and targeted harassment. And now it is imperative that data from the 2020 election not be used to further harass our poll workers who have already endured so much. Fast forward, this year, 2026 elections. This week's activities show that Fulton County is still much a target, and I'm told that I am personally a target. I'm a big boy. Now, while we've grown accustomed to name-calling and rhetoric, we will not give 1 inch to those who seek to take control of our elections. Now, hear what I just said. We will not give 1 inch to those who seek to take control of elections in Fulton County. Not today, not tomorrow, not ever. We're going to fight this in court with every resource that we have. And again, I'm very grateful to the support that is coming to us from around the country. Time and time again, the law has been on our side. And the greatest legal minds in the country agree it will be once again. I want to thank the local and national legal communities for their overwhelming support to us in this moment in the history of Fulton County, Georgia. Thank you.
I just want to say that Fulton County's Department of Registration and Elections has continued and will continue to maintain efficient, transparent, and accurate elections and election results. Our duty is to the voters and to the county voters, the electorate that goes out. We do not care what their political position is. We are there to make sure that they have an efficient process, that the process is fair, that the results are accurately and transparently reported. And that's what we will continue to do. We won't take our eye off the ball. We are continuing to focus on the 2026 election and those coming up, and Fulton County will stand strong. As the chairman said, poll workers have been targeted. We sometimes have difficulty recruiting poll workers because they are concerned about being subject to abuse. And I just want to thank the department and all of the staff that worked tirelessly yesterday until 9 o'clock at night and fully complied with the FBI. Even if we were surprised, we were able to efficiently comply, to discuss, and to make sure that what they were requesting, we complied with. Do we have concerns about the process? Are we concerned about the material, about voter information, and what will happen to personal, private information of voters? Of course we are, but that was out of our hands yesterday. We, like the chairman said, we will continue to be vigilant. We have a policy in Fulton County, if you see something, say something, so that voters know when they go to the polls that if anything goes awry, that someone will be reporting it, and we ourselves make sure that we report and tell anything that happens that's major, and we did that just a couple of months ago. So Fulton County will remain strong. We won't take our eye off the ball, and we thank those who are supporting us, and we hope that you all will continue to be vigilant and to not be subject to misinformation that may come out, because as the chairman said, we don't know how the information will be used. Thank you.
questions. We'll start here and then we'll work our way up. Yes, go ahead.
Quick question. So to that point, what sort of posture are you guys taking, like on a granular level, detailing like how voters can make sure that their information is safe, and how confident should voters be heading into the 2026 race that their votes are secure of their information?
When you say what are we, you mean as moving forward, what do we do? We always maintain voter maintenance roles, and you know in Georgia they have where that people who may be subject to stalking and things like that, that their information is safe as well. And so we try to make sure that it's not disseminated. Although the public is able to get voter information, it goes from the Secretary of State in order to make sure that people's information is protected, because they are in the best position to do that, not each county. And so that's what we do. Yesterday, with all of the information going and us not knowing exactly how it'll be used, that had private voter information in it as well.
Mr. Chairman, you said that this is by no means over. Can you talk about what steps Fulton County is going to take next?
Well, I don't want to disclose what our legal strategy is, but we will be fighting with every inch of our body, with every resource that we have. We have great counsel. We'll have outside counsel working with her. And everyone has told us that we will prevail in the final analysis.
Jerry, could you talk about... 1 second. I'm just going to grab this. Sorry, I may just repeat your question out loud. Go ahead, Richard.
Sure, I have a series of questions.
Okay.
My first question, I'm so sorry. Thank you, Jessica. Chairman Pitts, good morning. Thank you for doing this. You said that you were told that you're personally a target. Do you mean you're personally a target of this criminal investigation?
Not the criminal investigation, because of being outspoken and because I've talked about and refuted the lies that have been told about our elections in 2020. That's why I'm on the hit list. That's probably why I was disinvited to the White House, as you'll recall.
Okay, so but DOJ has not informed you?
I have not received anything yet. I have not.
Who do you think the target of this investigation is?
I have no idea.
What do you think the likelihood is that the state election board will try to use some of the information they've gathered as a pretext for taking over Fulton County's election systems?
I think that's a great question. And when I said what I said, one of my remarks was, that's what I'm concerned about. It wasn't about yesterday. I think it's about something else that has not been revealed yet. So just stay tuned. We're ready.
Richard, Elliot also had a hand up earlier. Sorry. We'll come back to you, Karen. Oh, sorry, I can pass. Richard, just shout it out if you want.
Two quick questions. Have you seen an unsealed? Here we go. Have you seen yet an unsealed warrant as to who or what the target of the criminal investigation is?
I have not.
No, we saw that it is under seal, but we have not seen it.
Okay, because we understand that it may be that Fulton County is not the target of a criminal investigation, that another entity may be, but it may encompass.
We have no idea. Nothing was explained to us, and it was difficult even getting a copy of the warrant.
Do you believe that this is part of a criminal investigation, or is this part of something else we've seen in other states? Some critics, opponents have said this is intimidation for voters for the midterms and elections moving forward.
I don't want to speculate, but I have heard that, and I have heard that it will not just stop here. There's an issue about voter maintenance rolls and whether or not the federal government should receive those, so I don't know.
And actually, there is a debate going on right now in the Georgia Senate over a resolution to urge the Secretary of State to turn over Georgia voter rolls, including Social Security numbers.
And the Secretary of State has turned over what, according to the law, from what I understand, was allowable.
And Director Allen, do you know exactly how many records roughly were taken yesterday, or how many boxes?
700 boxes, and the reason I know that is because this case was already, it's the subject of litigation, and it was in Superior Court, and so on February 9th was the date that we were scheduled to go in to talk about how everything would be transferred over. We wanted to make sure that we had transferred everything, and this was with the state, and the state would have been present as well, so it wouldn't be something that we just hand to them. Everyone would have been in where the records were kept, and the